Hello there. In my last video, I was discussing how chronic stress can be bad for you because it disrupts the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, HPA axis for short. These three areas are major influences in our bodies, and they can get thrown out of kilter if the stress pattern in our lives become more or less constant without any breaks, i.e. chronic stress. Now, once again, we have a problem because this HPA axis is actually meant to protect us. It's designed to deliberately but only partially shut down some of the functions in our bodies so that only the most vital and important organs can be used at their maximum capacity. Probably the best way to explain this is to go back to our caveman days. If bad weather was keeping you trapped inside your cave, you needed to find a way to stay alive until the storm went away or the snow melted enough for you to be able to get out. So the body would react to the situation by partially shutting down systems that you didn't really need immediately and could be kept particularly long at a much lower level in the background, and instead concentrate blood supply and energy on the critical organs such as the heart and the brain. So when the HPA axis is activated, circulation at the periphery, such as your fingers and your toes, is reduced, so that more blood is available to be diverted to the vital organs. Movement of food and fluid through the gut also slows down, so that it takes longer for it to pass through your stomach and intestines. This then gives the body more time to absorb even more nutrients than it would normally. The immune system, which protects us from infections, is also suppressed because there are more pressing dangers at hand than worrying about germs. Also, our sex organs are affected, so that fertility is reduced. After all, the last thing you need is to risk pregnancy when your life might be in danger. So all of this makes complete sense if you're trapped in a cave and just need to keep those vital organs going until you escape to get food. HPA axis activation was a great adaptation for survival in these primitive living conditions. However, in modern life, this partial shutdown is not an appropriate reaction to having a series of really bad days. When you have really tight deadlines to meet at work, or your kids have been ill and you hadn't had a moment to yourself, or you've just ended up tied to the computer screen for hours and hours at a time with no break, day after day after day. All these scenarios create chronic stress. So your body tries to help by partially shutting down. This is not a conscious decision. It is a complete reflex of a reaction. Your brain will do it for you automatically. And it is very likely that you'll be unaware that this has happened unless you knew what you were looking for. There is a point, however, at which HPA axis activation becomes HPA axis disruption. This is the tipping point when the HPA axis has been triggered so often by chronic stress that it starts to create all kinds of knock-on effects in the body that become more and more obvious, and you begin to see signs of illness. This can start in all kinds of ways. For example, with a suppressed immune system, you become more prone to infections and allergies. You might find yourself getting colds or other minor infections more easily than before, or just feeling under the weather and tired all the time. Perhaps you become allergic to things that usually have no effect on you. Inflammatory conditions can start too, because the immune system needs to be working properly in order to keep inappropriate inflammation at bay. So you might find you're getting joint stiffness or even joint pain because your joints are becoming a bit too much inflamed. Gut problems can start too because of the inflammation in the body, and also because the slower speed that the food and fluid is passing through your gut. So constipation and bloating can start to happen. This might then develop into irritable bowel problems. You might find that you're not coping well with foods such as bread, because you're beginning to react to the gluten. or finding that you're beginning to suffer from other food intolerances, for example, lactose intolerance, where your gut is reacting badly to dairy products. You might also find that you lose circulation at the periphery of your body more easily than before. So your fingers and or your toes may go bluish or even white and feel cold and numb to the touch. In addition, if you're trying for a baby, you might find that you have some fertility problems, and this is for all genders, and that it's harder to conceive than you thought it would be. Mental health problems may also begin. This is particularly because chronic stress seems to affect the amygdala, which is the part of the brain that is associated with your mood and emotion processing. As a result, mood swings can start occurring, as well as possibly feeling more irritable and or sensitive than usual. If the chronic stress then continues, other mental health issues can start to take hold, such as the need for excessive comfort eating or excessive alcohol intake or excessive smoking. Obsessive or compulsive behaviours can also start creeping in, leading to the need to repeat behaviours again and again, or having intrusive thoughts, such as checking that the door is locked, or that your hands are clean, or that you feel inadequate or overwhelmed all the time. Periods of depression or anxiety, or both, may become far more common and obvious too. All of these physical and mental health problems ultimately have their roots in chronic stress. Not only that, all of this is essentially the result of the body using primitive caveman protective mechanisms in order to try and cope with modern day problems. Soothing stress strategies can help. In my next video, I will start to explain how we can take back control over our own bodies and reduce the negative effects on our physical and mental health, which can be caused by chronic stress. Look out for this video on my Facebook page and also my YouTube channel. Bye for now.